So first things first, I needed to tidy up my workspace a bit, clear up my desk, remove that steering wheel and stuff out of the way so I can work properly. Then I started looking through some old books of mine on foreshortening, because that's what we're sort of practicing today as part of the Milan Mastery Program. And I had some old books I'd looked at before on foreshortening, and it just reminded me, so I dug that book out and had a little read through that before I started the activities. I'm not sure how familiar you are with foreshortening, the concept of foreshortening, but it's basically just when you're viewing a person or like a hand or something like that in perspective, and you get that effect like a steep perspective as it recedes backwards. So when you're kind of drawing it, it's kind of it's quite challenging really, particularly when you're trying to draw your own hand and it's moving around and stuff. I found that quite tricky. Not the best at sort of drawing from life anyway. I need more practice at that. I mostly end up doing it from photos and stuff, but yeah, you kind of just need to sort of view. You need to put down straight from your eye onto paper really, and sort of gauge the proportions as best you can, but not to sort of just let your mind think, oh, there's a finger, I'll draw a finger, because you don't just drawing like a bunch of sausages or like a bunch of bananas kind of thing. Oh, that's a finger, what your mind thinks a finger looks like. But you just need to sort of see it as shapes and contours and just sort of put it directly onto the page as you see it. So it's definitely something that takes a bit of practice, and I need some more practice on this. But yeah, I was sort of just drawing my hand from various angles, and yeah, it gets a bit uncomfortable trying to do that after a little while, but yeah, I did a bit of that. I did do one like this similar in the past, so it's something I've tried before, but it's only one quick exercise where it was like your fingers pointing towards yourself from that book I was just showing you. Bert Dobson, I think's the name of the book. You know, I thought that I'd recommend that book actually. It's good for just practicing your sketching and just sort of sketching loosely without having to think too much, and just learning how to sketch straight to the page without sort of letting your brain get in the way too much, if that makes sense. Just sort of looking more at your subject rather than your page. It teaches you to do that more, which is quite useful. And they actually come out looking quite good. They look quite loose and sketchy and a little bit rough, but they've got a sort of character to them, the way it sort of makes your sketches come out. And it was a while ago when I did that. I might have to try that again actually, because I enjoyed those few little exercises. I tried drawing my dogs and things in the past through it, and I thought it was there's some good little exercises in there. I'd like to work my way through the book properly at some point. But right now I'm just working through this mastery program, so I want to make sure I get through that. And yeah, so here's the outcome. Could do with a bit of work, but need to keep moving forwards. So I've got some of my cheap recycled paper, A2 size, quite large. Got some of that out to practice on, just loosely practicing from photos, some foreshortening reference images, and just trying to not measure things really accurately, and just trying to do it by eye. And just I check the proportions a little bit with like my pencil, just sort of making sure that the sort of width looked about right, and like things kind of like dropping a plumb line down from like the edge of the head to make sure things lined up, that kind of thing, like just a basic check. But I didn't I've been using like what's called a proportion tool, I think it's called, a scaling tool, which is like two pieces, and they kind of in a cross shape across each other, which allows you to, like, you can scale up from like a smaller image onto like a bigger page. It just helps you to get the proportions, how to scale up the proportions to a bigger sheet, which I found that really useful. I'll show you that in a minute when I get to that point. Because I'll do these 3 sketches I'm working on now, and at the end I'll do a final one. I'll just put a bit more time into it really. It ended up taking me quite a while actually, because there was a lot of like shading and stuff on it, a lot of like rendering in graphite, trying to get the skin shades and all the values right and stuff. But you'll see that one in a minute. But these ones are all just just trying to sort of quickly put them in, just quickly sketching out gestures, getting a feel for it, getting that foreshortening effect, which is quite tricky when you sit there just trying to do these foreshortening sketches. They're quite challenging, really, but your mind plays tricks on you a little bit. So then I moved on to this final reference image, which I like. It's from a statue. I forget the name of it now. I can pop it down below in the comments. But I found it really cool. I think that's the statue itself. I did a little Google search. I think it's about like the struggle of evil and sin, and like the struggle at the time. It was like a really sinful, wicked time, and the sculptor, I think it was something to do with that, and he. That's kind of what I was getting from it, because like like when you go through moments in your life and there's like challenges and you've just got to keep moving forward all the time. You finish one battle, there's another battle to go through. I'm sure a lot of people can identify with that, and some people have more to deal with than others, but it's just kind of, it just sort of spoke to me, like I was the way I was feeling a bit at the time, and then I saw that statue and it kind of really sort of spoke to me with that battle of just trying to constantly pulling yourself forwards, and so I kind of went with that because I was kind of feeling that kind of emotion from it. So I tried to sort of capture that a bit, and I didn't want to be sort of overly literal with what I was doing from the reference image, making it look exactly the same, but I tried to make it sort of more flowing and dynamic, because I watched some other tutorials and things that were showing you about gesture lines and how to sort of curve members of the body. So I was trying to put like these gesture lines that sort of curved and like had a rhythm to them through the body, like down through the arm and then down the tendons, down to the fingers, and it was like curves. So I don't know if you can see very clearly on the video, but there's like all these little lines that I've done to try and just get these lines flowing through, so it has a flowing, moving feel to it, which I think I've done okay on it. I'd like to try that again, really. I was just trying to consciously do that on this one, trying to make it so like the fingers, they weren't just perfectly straight like they are kind of in the photo. I was trying to make them a little bit more round, like curved, so they looked a bit more dynamic. And but yeah, I think I'll quite, because I tend to like this. I've done like architectural visualizations in the past. I like those kind of dynamic, like sort of like a 45-degree shot where it looks like it's really coming towards you, and I like that kind of thing. I reckon I'd like that with drawing and painting, just like these foreshortening shots. I think they have a lot of energy to them, and they're quite eye-catching. I think I'll probably like to sort of try some more like this, but they are quite hard to do. That's the only thing. They're a bit more time-consuming. Just put like this. In the past, I've always done quite quick sketches, really, like in a sketchbook, a little A4 pad, and just done little quick sketches trying to do portraits or something. But everything's always been quite quick. But now I'm trying to just sort of be more patient and put in more time in. And I think this Milan Mastery Program's kind of taught me that a bit, where I've just learnt to sort of be patient and trust the process, and everything's in sort of layers and stages, and you sort of get used to working like that, and it makes you a bit more patient, I think. So I'm sort of doing that now, just taking my time with things, and like there I'm just sort of trying to gradually build up the shading, like using a H pencil, which I never really used to use as light as that. I'm going right down to sort of H up to 9B for the dark areas, like the darkest shadows and the cast shadows and stuff. And then I've got like black pastel, pan pastel that I put on the back. And I quite like the sort of look, like the mix of like a real looking elements, and then the more sort of unfinished bits around the outside. I like that sort of contrast. Bit like that sort of mad charcoal guy that I mentioned before. I like his sort of work where it's like where he does like a realistic sort of portrait coming out of like a load of abstract marks, and I like that kind of thing. yeah, I'll sort of just carry on putting in some more of the darks, and I think I'll sort of get this to a point, and then I think I quite like how it looks. I could probably go on with it forever, really, just sort of refining it, and I probably will end up coming back to it at some point when I get a bit more time and seeing if I can sort of just refine a few little areas. But I think overall I quite like it. I want to leave some of it looking rough, and I think something like this would look quite good as a painting, but I just have to see how good I'd be with doing all the sort of yeah, trying to make the realistic elements and all the sort of nice blended skin tones, and I'm not sure how I'd be able to do that exactly, but could always give it a try at some point, I guess. Or maybe give it more of an abstract look. Or it's definitely something to sort of experiment a bit more with, I think. I quite like the way this looks, and so I sort of just went back putting a little bit more of that black pan pastel into the darkest areas, like the shadow under the chest and stuff. And this is the final result, which I'm quite pleased with, really. So thanks for watching, and if you like these videos, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the future ones that I make, and share them about, give them a like, all that good stuff. And I hope to see you for the next one. Okay, God bless.